Hey guys, this is a 2.5D game where I have 2D sprites, but then it is against a 3D environment. And I really like this because it allows you to blend the aesthetics of two different art styles. So you can see this curved world and this camera is very easy to achieve with 3D. But at the same time, I like the aesthetics of 2D sprites as well. And I'm just going to show you another example over here. You can see this entire world is made in 3D, but all of these characters, I'm just going to zoom in, are actually 2D sprites. I posted this all over Twitter and it got quite a ton of views because I think that there's quite a lot of interest in not just blending of styles, but also how I was able to create these 2D sprites using AI. Most recently, I have been using a lot of Grok. And there are two reasons why I really like Grok. Now, the first reason is that it actually performs really well when you compare it to even things like Fable and GPT 5.5. And in some cases, it actually even does better than them. But I'm not really someone who really looks too much at benchmarks, because when you're making games, what really matters most isn't about benchmarks, but about how the models actually allow you to achieve the goal that you want. And so these two games that you see over here, I was able to build this in minutes, right? Iterating very quickly on it, just prompting the ideas that I wanted. And that's because Grok 4.5 is extremely fast. But the killer feature that I think a lot of people may not know about is that Grok Imagine is actually the best tool to generate art assets for your game. I have been working on a workflow that allows you to create 2D sprites for your game. This is a tool that I've made called Spriterrific, and Spriterrific works extremely well with Grok Imagine to create game-ready sprites. So all you have to do is just add the skill to your project, prompt what you want, and you will get your sprites ready to integrate into whatever game that you have. The other thing is that I'm using Grok Build quite a lot. This is like your Cloud Code or your Codex CLI. And when you use it in something like CMarks, the experience is actually really good. It has a really nice interface, and I just find myself spending a lot more time within Grok Build right now. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I've gone all in on Grok. I'm using Grok Build for my harness. I'm using Grok 4.5 for the model, and I'm using Grok Imagine to be able to create all of these game-ready art assets. So if you ever wanted to know how to build games using AI, and that includes not just using AI to code the game, but to also create game-ready assets that you can use for a game, this video is for you. All right, so there are two real ways that you can get hold of Grok 4.5. You can use Grok Build, and it's now free to use as well. And then just today, they've made it completely open source as well. So you can get hold of it with no problems. The other way that you can get hold of Grok 4.5 is using Cursor, which is something that I use a lot as well, because it allows me to switch between different models. And I like it. I like the interface. And it also comes with a full-blown file explorer and editor. And so if you're the kind of person that likes to work within a IDE, you should definitely check out Cursor as well. It has Grok 4.5, and I believe that Grok 4.5 is actually half price right now. So now's the best time if you want to get hold and make use of Grok. Now, if you're using Grok Build, the very first thing you want to do is that you want to go to your Grok config, right? You want to set these two configurations, all right? So the first thing is telemetry, trace upload false, and then you want disable code-based upload to be true. Okay, the other thing that you want to do is that you want to go into Grok and you can do privacy, all right? And then you can say there's privacy opt-in and then there's opt-out. You can check your mode over here. And I think if you do privacy opt-out, this will ensure that you are in full privacy mode as well. Okay, so that's how you get hold of Grok. Let me just show you how things are over here. So it should be very familiar to those of you who are used to staying in a terminal and working with things like Cloud Code and Codex CLI. But there are a couple of nice things that I like. So you can see over here, I've got my background servers running, right? You can see it on 5173, and then you can actually just look at the process. And I like this interaction that you're able to have with the mouse as well as being in the terminal. But the key thing that I really wanted to demonstrate today is how fast Grok 4.5 is, but number two, how easy it is to make use of Grok Imagine to create game-ready assets using the tool that I made called Spriterrific. So let me just open up this project that we have over here. All right, so you can see here that I have this football game, and say I wanted to add in a new character. All right, so I just want a new character that is maybe a rabbit and a different team color. If you watched the World Cup, you would have known that England lost to Argentina yesterday. So Argentina will be facing Spain in the World Cup. So maybe now's a good time to see if I can create a new character in an existing game using Spriterrific. As you can see on the left hand here is where I prompt to generate the assets, and on the right is where I prompt to do the game logic. So let's just say, all right, so what do we want to have here? All right, so we have a dog, we have a cat. So let's just say this. All right, so let's say, so based on the existing characters and animation sets that we have, I want to introduce a new team that can be selected. And I want you to use the Spriterrific API skill to generate these assets. I want a rabbit, and I want them to be in the national colors of Spain jerseys. Generate all the animations that are required to match what we have exist currently. So I've just kicked this off to generate this. And the way it works is that it's very simple. All you need is to get hold of these Spriterrific API skill, and it's completely free. And then once you've generated your API key, which I've already done, all you need to do is then just prompt your agent like I just did. So you can see over here, it's just going to go ahead. And this is what I mean by agent first. I've tried a lot of different sprite generation tools where you kind of type in the prompt on the web interface. You can use an API as well. But I think that the problem is that I actually struggle a lot with writing prompts, right? And I think AI writes better prompts than I do. And coupled with skills, it knows how to make use of the best practices better than I do. So you can see that I just ramble here, right? I just said I wanted the characters to match the existing animations of the game and create like a rabbit in Spain colors. And that's pretty much it. And I just riffed. But it's going to be able to understand this because we are using to understand what I'm trying to do. And then it's going to use the skill to generate that new character. Okay, so that's what's going on here. So I'm going to use another example for this game that we have over here. So you can see in this case, we already have a character. So let's just say we want to create a new character for this game. And I'm just going to go into here. And I'm going to say that this game over here, I'm going to mimic a fresh install. Okay, so if you go to Spriterrific, you can actually just copy this AI prompt to get hold of the skills. So you don't have to manually download it. So I'm just going to paste the prompt in here. And what it will do is that it will get hold of the Spriterrific API skill and put it into the project. Okay, and this is the first step that you need to do. And I'm trying to make it as simple as possible so that you don't need to think about whether to download it or NPX or whatever. Just copy this prompt, paste it in, and you will be able to do everything that you need it to do. Now it's installed. The next thing it needs is a Spriterrific key. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to do create key. I'm going to do AI oriented tube, and then I'm just going to get a key. And no, I'm going to delete this later. So it should be fine. All right, so I'm going to do env dot, and I'm just going to put it in Spriterrific because I have a bunch of other keys in my env.local, but I'll just tell it to look at it as. So I'm going to say here, use the Spriterrific API skill. I want you to generate a new character that I can then swap out, maintaining the same style of the existing farmer character, but make him or her look different. All right, so I'm just going to kick this off. And this is the reason why I like it to be agent first, because I spend all my time with my agents within my code base, and having to go to a web interface to like type prompts in or generate stuff just doesn't feel right. The second thing is that because I'm in the code base, I can ask it to reference existing characters, existing documentation, existing code without me having to copy and paste that context into a web interface. And this is the reason why I think Spriterrific is quite different in how it's been architected. And it served me very well. All right, so now we've kicked off both of this. And let me just show you what happens when this is going on. And you can see here, right, like the two runs that I kicked off, you can see that this island character, which has idle, walk, and run. And then for this, I had the rabbit footballer over here, walk, idle, attack, run, and hurt. And we can actually jump into it to see. So you can see it's done really well. It's gotten the Spain colors. It's got a rabbit, and it's already given me the idle. It's given me the walk, and then it's starting to do the kick animation, as well as the run animation and the hurt animation as well. And you will see very quickly over here, once it's done, you can just jump back into your code base and then integrate it. So we're going to just let this finish out. And you can see I've been using this pretty much for all my other characters. And you can see the cat character that we had over here that had the Argentina colors. And then in this case, this one should be finishing up pretty soon. So this is how it works. And this is where the web interface comes in handy because it allows you to see things in progress. But at the same time, you can also track the progress within your favorite test harness as well. Okay, so I'm going to let these two finish, and then I'll show you how to integrate it within your day. So you can see that both of these runs have more or less completed now. So I'll just take you through the kicking is done, the hurt when he gets tackled, idle, run, and all of this is now present. Like I said, I'm using Grok 4.5 high, and I believe this will be actually pretty quick. Okay, so you can see it does have the reasoning trace, but this is the really nice thing that I like about Grok Build and Grok 4.5 is that it's really fast. Okay, so I'm just going to kick this off and let this run. And then, all right, and then now I'm going to look at this Farm Island character, and it's still running. This should be finishing up soon. All right, but you can see here it's created a character, and hopefully we'll get the walk and the run in as well. So you can see it took about 1 minute, and it managed to put it in. And here, so you can see immediately I can choose between the dog, the cat, and the rabbit. I'm going to play as a rabbit now. And you can see straight away, I have my rabbit character. And so this is the reason why, like I told you, I find that using Grok is extremely fast. you can get really good results if you're using 5.6, if you're using Opus, but just something about the Grok models just make it feel extremely snappy. So you can see all this is in right now. Now, one of the things that I want to take this opportunity to show is that let me just see if I can just walk for a while. So you can see here, right? You might notice that the walking animation is not quite right as things stand. And this can happen sometimes. Okay, and let me just show you how Spriterrific solves this problem because it's actually extremely easy to fix. All right, so this is the walk animation. So sometimes this tends to happen because it tries to automatically reason about which frames are needed. If you actually look at how it works, behind the scenes, it is actually a video. So if you watch, the video is perfectly fine. The walk cycle is perfectly fine. There's no problems. It's just the chosen frames just happens to be wrong. And this happens sometimes, and sometimes it gets it right the first time. So all you have to do is just click on this pick frames over here. And there's several ways that you can do this, but I like to do this. So you just clear the selection, just deselect all. And what you can do is just scrub through to decide what would make a good walk cycle. I like to do it like this. So this looks like a good starting frame. So I set that as a start. And then I just walk through one entire cycle. So that's right, left, and then this will be right again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this at the end. And then I'm going to set, let me just quickly check. So I have 8 frames. So I'm just going to keep the same number of frames. So I'm going to say I want 8 frames, and then I'm going to do even fill. And you can see this is now a walk cycle that looks correct compared to what it was before. So once you've done that, all you have to do is just say create V2 from selection. What it will do now is that it will actually create game-ready sprite sheets with your selection that you have over here so that the walk cycle is fixed. All right, so I'm just going to let this spin for a while, all right, because it's actually generating it. And this should be pretty quick, but we'll come back to it later. So once the V2 is done, you can see that this looks a lot better, right? So this is the original. It looks janky, but on V2, I'm just going to scroll in a bit. So if you look at the original one, you can see that it is a little bit janky, whereas in V2, it's just a slight alteration, but it looks a lot better. So you can just set this as your active, and then you can just jump back and say, I've used the frame picker, and I have a V2 of the walk. Let's integrate it into the game. All right, and you can just do that. And this is the reason why I said, like, it's much easier to work with an agent. You can go ahead and click on it and download the files manually, place them when you need to be, and all that kind of stuff. But why would you want to do that in the age of AI? Just prompt your AI to do it. And so therefore, with this Spriterrific skills, you're going to be able to just tell it, I've done it, I've just updated it, and just pull it. This is the reason why I architected it this way. So there is a web interface for you to do things like this frame picking, but then most of it is just simply, it just allows you to stay in your favorite AI tool. Okay? So that's how you go ahead and fix it. And let's just see if this one is done now. Okay, and now we can see for the Animal Crossing like game. So you can see here, this is the other character, the female character that we asked for that would be inserted into this Animal Crossing like game. So you can see maintain the style of the character. And the reason why I was able to do that is that I didn't need to pass in more reference images or anything like that. It already has the context from working within your existing code base. Okay, first try. But then you can see for the walk animation, in this case, again, it didn't manage to get it as clean. So once again, let me just show you how this is done. So you just click pick frames, right? And then just clear the selection, all right? And then you just cycle through whichever you want. So in this case, let's just do something like this. This feels like a good starting. So that's the left leg, right leg, and then left leg is going forward. And you can actually go online and search for walk cycle sheets, but I've done this quite a few times now. So I think this should be fine. So let's just do an even fill. Okay. All right. And that should be, all right. So that's good enough. So we slide down, click create V2, and then this should be working fine. Okay. So now I'm just going to jump back in. All right here. And you can see, yep, it's completed. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, we've added a new character into the game, a female character. Let's have an easy way to switch between the male and female character within the game and just match all existing animation sets. Okay. All right, so that's what I'm going to kick off in the Animal Crossing Lite game. And let's just see here. And you can see Walk V2 is integrated. I'm switching to 2 different projects at the same time. So let me just go back to the football game and let's just look at the rabbit. So now I'm going to do, so you can see here, I'm going to just zoom in a little bit and it's being tackled like crazy. Oh, right. So I'm just going to try to zoom in a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to do this quite early on like this. All right. So you can see if I walk now, you can see that the walk animation looks a lot better. Okay, so that's how you fix up animations very quickly within the Spriterrific toolset. So while this is happening, I'm going to see if this is completed. Okay, all right, and you can see it really knows how to set up the assets correctly within the game. And then what I'm going to do over here is that I'm going to say we have a V2 of the walk cycle for the female character. let's promote it. All right, so as you can see here, we have the V2 that was done. So this is the one with the correct walk cycle. I'm going to set this as active. Okay. And then you can see it's going to activate the V2 one over here. All right, so I think this is almost going to be done. All right, so you can see it took roughly about 2 minutes to get this in. And this is a much bigger code base because it's actually using my starter project that I use. So there's quite a lot of additional stuff, but so 2 minutes is actually still pretty quick. All right, so you can see now I'm now in the game and you can see I've got the updated walk cycle. I can run and I'm able to effectively swap out the entire character very quickly with a new sprite just using a series of prompts. And like I told you, everything in Spriterrific can be accessed through the dashboard as well. And this allows you to very easily create game-ready sprites for your game while staying within your favorite AI terminal. All right, so this is a really quick overview of my most recent workflow experimenting with Grok and a new toolset. I'm going to be using it a lot more probably. I really like it so far. It's not to say I'm not going to use Fable or Opus 4.8 or GPT 5.6, Sol, Terra, or Luna. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm having some really good results and having a lot of fun with using Grok 4.5 as my driver for game development. And I know this is something that a lot of other people are also finding right now. So I just want to give a quick overview of how this all works together. All right, hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so that you always be the first to know when new content like this drops. If you haven't seen my previous video where I built an entire beat-em-up game like Streets of Rage, you want to check out this video right over here. It made use of a very similar workflow for generating all my characters, but you also have some really cool additional features like weapons that you can pick up, boss fights, and cutscenes. So if you haven't seen that one, you definitely want to check it out, and the video is over here. So till next time, I'll see ya.